Hello everybody and welcome back to our lecture series. I'm Ted, your host, and for this lecture we're going to cover, not lecture, this is a fast fact, I'm sorry about that. For this fast fact we're going to cover Imperial Assyria. And Mesopotamia is a land that is given to the formation and the rapid disintegration of empires. It's very open. It is a very open area, and it sort of courts disaster. And so it was inevitable that given the open nature of Mesopotamia, that empire would rise one after the other. As soon as one empire asserts itself, a rival would arise who would attempt to displace it. And the power of the Assyrian Empire really rested on the fact that they proved themselves to be one of the greatest militaristic states of all time. The Assyrians, who gained their name from their great capital, Ashur, came to power in around 900 BCE, or around the time after the Bronze Age collapse. And they stand in line with their predecessors, who were very much interested in culture, though they do have a major preoccupation with martial affairs. The Assyrians will go on to build the most sophisticated military machine in the ancient Near East. They will use that very awesome war machine to conquer the entirety of Mesopotamia, establishing a huge empire in the process. Now, the Assyrian war machine will go on to employ a mixture of different classification of troops, what we will call today combined arms. They use foot infantry, archers, chariots, and they developed a military engineer corps. And they used this corps to capture walled cities, and they used siege equipment. Very much a sophistication, very much an advancement on anything that had come before them. The Assyrians aggressively pursued their objectives using order and determination, which are really the hallmarks of modern militaries. Now, the Assyrians are also remembered for their calculated policy of ruling with terror. They deliberately tried to instill fear and terror into their subjects. They deliberately attempted to intimidate them, and nearly all of our surviving Assyrian inscriptions are stone pillars put up by the Assyrian kings that they used to boast of the cruelty they inflicted on their enemies. And these were intended to primarily discourage rebellion against the Assyrians, but also to intimidate future opponents. The Assyrian kings also commissioned great public works, and they depicted themselves hunting lions. They created some pretty graphic work showing lion after lion, riddled with wounds and arrows. The key idea here in their culture was that if the king was a great hunter, he would be a great warrior. And the Assyrian kings, it appears, were so enthusiastic and spent so much time hunting lions that it appears that they hunted the Asiatic lion to extinction. And when once they killed the lions, they turned to hunting the next largest animal, which was a type of antelope. And following up the extinction of the lions, we see the Assyrian kings present themselves as being the master hunters of antelope. And another feature of Imperial Assyria was that every year the Assyrian armies would march out, and they would march out to subdue new areas. But as time went on, they would have to spend more and more of their time putting down rebellions against subject peoples. They were not a very popular bunch. And Imperial Assyria would later be undone when a coalition of 12 conquered peoples rose up against them in 600 BCE. And again, this coalition of people, this coalition of 12 peoples were led by the Babylonians, who never reconciled themselves to the rule of the Assyrians. Of all the peoples of the ancient Near East, and I have to say that the southern kingdom of Judah, the Philistines, and the Phoenicians and the Aramaeans, they were all on board with Assyria. Nobody really launched that many rebellions. The northern kingdom of the Hebrews, the kingdom of Israel, they fought against the Assyrians, and the Assyrians defeated them, dispersed their people, and took over direct rule of their areas. But other people simply got on board with the Assyrians. The Assyrians wanted to control the social, economic, and political destiny of the Near East. And many people realized that by aligning with the Assyrians, they would reap economic benefits. Babylon, the Amorites, And later the people known as the Chaldeans, they would reject any notion that Asher would dictate the policy of the Near East, and that Asher would play the role of hegemonic city. Asher viewed itself as the heir of Asargade and the heir of Ur. Those were the two principal Sumerian and Akkadian cities. Babylon viewed itself as the successor of Asargade and Ur as well. And Babylon would not brook any sort of devolution in its status. And so that put them on friction. That put them on a course for friction. And it served to highlight why Babylon would be at the center of all the anti-Assyrian intrigues. But that'll conclude our fast fact on Imperial Assyria. Hit like, subscribe, and comment, and let me know what you thought about this fast fact. And as always, I am Ted, and I will see you guys next time for another fast fact.